So excited to talk with our next guest.
He is an Academy Award-winning actor, philanthropist, college professor, hook 'em horns, father of three, and according to his Instagram profile, he is a pickle expert. Now he has written a memoir. It is called Greenlights. The one and only Matthew McConaughey is joining us live.
Good morning, all. Thank you for having me.
The crowd goes wild. We love having you here, even if it's virtually like this. And speaking of virtually, Dazed and Confused, of course, your very first movie, and you had a virtual reunion with the cast, the table read for charity. What was it like reading those lines again, Matthew?
Well, I did not have to rehearse, I can tell you that. I remember them, you know, so much of that script, and that was my very first job ever got in what became a career 28 years later. Now, getting to see everybody, I remember in the 45 minutes before the actual virtual read, we all got to see each other and talk. Some people looked younger than they did back then. Everyone looked a little bit different. Some people looked younger. It was really, really cool to catch up. And for me, that was the inception. Like I said, I didn't know if that was a one-off hobby, but it turned out to be a career for me.
You know, Matthew, you've been writing journals for most of your life, and when you decided to write this book, you wanted to look back through them, and to do so, I understand you went into the desert by yourself with no electricity. How did that go?
For the most part, it went well. I enjoyed the company the entire time, and there were some very cold nights. But yeah, it was a total of 52 days. The first 12 were without electricity. After that, there was a generator in hand at times. But yeah, I wanted to go away with all 36 years of my journals and see what the heck I had. I'd been threatening to go away with these journals for the last 15 years, but never had the courage to do it. Finally, I got a little bit of time on my hands and a kick in the backside by my wife, which she does so well at perfect times. And she said, "Get out of here and don't come back home until you got something." And what I found was what you got in this book, Greenlights.
What a great discipline to keep those journals all those years. And one of the things you write in the book is, the only thing I ever knew I wanted to be was a father. Never a doubt?
Yeah. Never a doubt. This was, so at 8 years old, I remember my dad was a big sirs and ma'ams, please and thank you man. And he was always, you shake a man's hand, you look him in the eye and you say, yes sir, no sir. And I was meeting some of his new friends at 8 years old, looking up at them and shaking their hand and saying, nice to meet you, sir. And in my 8-year-old mind, what I noticed at that time is every man that I had said sir to, the common denominator was they were all fathers. And I remember at 8 years old saying, oh, that's when you made it. That's when you've succeeded in life, when you become a father. And so from that day on, it was very clear to me, the one thing I knew I always wanted to be.
And you
always was.
Yeah, and you write about your father in the book a great deal. And you know, Matthew, how much do you think that you're like your dad?
Very much. I hope even more sometimes. You know, he really instilled values in myself and my two brothers, values that I know I wouldn't be sitting here, the man I am with the life that I've got, if he wouldn't have worked to instill. Our family loved hard. We laughed hard, we hugged hard, we loved hard. It was not always pretty. But the love in our family was never, ever, ever in question.
And you said you earned those spankings. You said you earned them.
Every one of them. I say in the book, I said, there's not a butt whooping I would trade in for the values that were instilled on me because of them. And I know it, that every single one of them, there was never a time I got in trouble or got those butt whoopings where I didn't like, you definitely earned that one.
And speaking of love, I know that you write about your wife, Camilla, and you write specifically about the moment you first saw her. Did you know she was the one?
I can't say I knew she was the one. I will say this. She was moving to my right to left across a room, and it did not look like she was walking, meaning her head was not bobbing. She was more floating. And I did not say, who is that? I said, what is that? And in the book, I write about 2 pages in what went through my mind of who and what she was when I just saw her move. It was just 4 seconds of her moving. And I will say this, every beautiful thing that went through my mind about who and what she was, she has turned out to be exactly that and then some. So I knew right away that she was something special. And then very soon, over the next years, when we really fell in love, and I knew that this is the woman I want to spend the rest of my life with.
Tell us the lesson you learned when you traded in your truck for a sports car.
Everyone's got a red sports car in their life, right? That fancy, shiny thing. Look at it. Look at it. And this is the perfect picture. Before this picture, I was a truck guy. All right, I took the girls mudding after school. I worked, I hustled. No matter when we showed up at the concert, I was the guy who would work our butts to the front row. I was the guy at the party. I did not lean against the wall. I got out and danced. But then I get this red sports car. And as you can see in this picture, what do I start doing? I start leaning against that red sports car, letting that red sports car work with me. And I think I'm so cool with my red sports car. Well, the girls thought that was cute for about one day. And they were like, "You've really gotten pretty boring, Matthew. What happened to the hustler? You used to be so much fun. Now you just lean against that red sports car." Well, once I noticed this was blocking my flow and really getting in the way of my success and fun, I traded that red sports car back in for my truck. And the next day when I got my truck back, I was back. But
Man who knows himself.
Yeah. But
I was letting that car do the work for me. No, don't do that.
Well, the three of us here in the studio have gotten to know you over the years, and we got to say, what you see is what you get. It doesn't matter even after the Academy Award, all the accolades. How do you stay grounded? And I know that we're going to find out more of that reading your book.
Great question. I mean, it's daily work, it's daily maintenance. I think I have my values in pretty good order. You know, if I get lost a little bit, I do what I've done with this book. I go away. I spend some time with me, try to get my head and my heart communicating clearly, because as we all know, they don't always communicate clearly.
Amen.
Try to keep my ego in check, but also try to keep it healthy. Having 3 kids and a wonderful wife helps quite a lot. Those are the things that really matter. Like when I say the only thing I ever wanted to be was a father. What's the greatest legacy I want to leave? My children. So, you know, between that and when I do go work or get an accolade or a trophy or an applause, I always try to remember that it's because I stayed in process at the time of what I was doing. I'll tell this great story. Dallas Buyers Club, I win Best Actor. They give me a trophy. My kids come to me and they go, "What'd you get the trophy for?" And I said, "Do you remember a year and a half ago when you said Popeye looked like a giraffe?" And they went, "Yeah." And I said, "Remember how you get up in the morning and he'd be gone and I'd come home and I'd see you, we'd have dinner and I'd put you to bed?" They said, "Yeah." I said, "Well, remember when Popeye was leaving that day for 30 days while working on that film, the work I was doing on those days, now a year and a half later, my peers came and gave me a trophy for it and deemed my work excellent." So you can do things today that will pay you back tomorrow. And that, in a nutshell, is sort of a lot of what's behind Greenlights. It's about investing in our own future, being kind to our future selves, being true to our future selves. And so that's on my mind a lot.
That's a beautiful story, an absolute beautiful story.
Delayed gratification, right?
That's right. Amen, my brother. Amen all the way. And never enough time, Matthew. Our love to you and that beautiful family of yours. I know we're going to have more with you tomorrow. We're going to talk about your career, how that iconic line, come on, Amy.
All right.
Yeah, came to be. 3 times. His book, Greenlights, you got to pick it up. Comes out tomorrow. Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.